From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Welcome to skate night at the warehouse. The boys wanna be clean up on aisle 5.
I just want to tell y'all that you're my new heroes.
Well, put some skates on. Be your own hero.
The last time I wore skates, they had Barbies on them.
I want to be her. Yes, I do.
You could be our mascot.
Get ready to meet your newest Girl Scout, Babe Ruthless!
We're number two.
She came in second out of 2 teams. That's right, celebrate mediocrity. That's fantastic.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, roller derby. Here to tell us more about it are Omaha Roller Derby's Crash Hartless, Molly Massacre, and Brooke Sutton. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Crash, we are going to start with you. How do you define roller derby?
I define it as a fairly aggressive, intense, full contact sport. It's played 5-on-5. One person from each team is the point scorer. We call them the jammer. And there's no ball. So they are how we score our points.
Okay, briefly roll us through the history.
Yeah. It started during the Great Depression. There was an entrepreneur who would put on skate-a-thons. So they would kind of simulate either skating from coast to coast in the United States or just like an endurance competition. But he quickly realized that people really only came to spectate once the thing was very far into its progression, because that's when people started getting tired and they would run into each other and fall down. So if he realized that was the only part they cared about, he would just highlight that by making that the focus of the sport that was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Molly, how big has this become worldwide?
It's international. There is representative teams in nearly every country. Some countries have more than one team. Some cities have more than one team. It just depends on the demographic of who's interested in the game and the amount of people that go out for the teams. Like if they have a large number of people who are interested, then they'll form little mini teams that play against each other. But for the most part, there's one representative team for the WFTDA association, and they all play against each other to battle out for the number 1 position.
Now here in the United States, it's pretty popular. Nebraska, no exception. Talk to us about the opportunities here in Nebraska for roller derby.
So if you're in Omaha, you can come skate with us. Omaha Roller Derby. We also have our rival team, Lincoln, who I usually get really geared up to go against. They're the team that scares me the most, believe it or not. But they're in Lincoln. They're called No Coast Roller Derby.
So I'm curious, what about them scares you?
Their personalities are very intimidating. Like, not saying that we're not in it to win it, because obviously we are, but they're stereotypically whereas we're more like, thank you for coming to play. Are you okay? No.
They're kind of our big sister league,
They
too.
are.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, Brooke, you guys, like every other sport, you have a playing field. We want to put a graphic up for our viewers of what it is that we're talking about when we talk about roller derby and its playing field. Go ahead and walk us through what we're seeing here.
Sure. So the blue area is the playing field. That's the track that's in bounds. And then all the pinkish purplish area would be considered out of bounds. That's where you'll find all of the reffing team. The 2 red lines down at the bottom of the track, the one that says 10 feet, that would be called the jam line. No?
From this perspective, it's a little hard to tell. I think that would be the pivot line.
Okay, so that would be the pivot line. So all of the blockers would need to line up behind that line, and then the one that would be to my left would be the jam line, and then so the 2 jammers, one from each team, would need to line up behind that line. And then play proceeds in a counterclockwise direction.
Well, and we found a video talking about how play proceeds. And so while they're getting that together, just that kind of, it's the rules of the game. And we're going to go ahead and roll that for our viewers so they can get a snapshot of what this is really all about.
Roller derby is played in increments called jams. Each jam lasts up to 2 minutes. Both teams field up to 5 skaters at the start of the jam. 4 of these skaters are called blockers, and 1 is called the jammer. The jammer wears a helmet cover with a star on it and scores points for the team. The blockers are playing both offense and defense at the same time, and together they make up what is called the pack. The 2 jammers start each jam behind the pack and must get through all of these skaters for an initial pass before they can begin to score points. When the initial pass is complete, a jammer can score 1 point for every opponent they pass with their hips. The first jammer out of the pack legally is declared lead jammer, which means they can end the jam anytime they want before the 2 minutes are up. Sounds easy, right?
Okay, Crash. So I got to follow out of that. There have to be strategies and tactics, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we've got some graphics. We're going to put those up for our viewers as well.
Sure.
But talk to us about how you become in it to win it, right? What types of things do you need to be thinking about as you're out there?
The first thing that I kind of keep in my head is just my continued existence. So I'm always looking out for number 1. It's tricky, but having just situational awareness so you can see who's trying to help you and who's trying to hurt you is your best avenue, because we do play offense and defense simultaneously.
Okay.
But some of the strategic things that can help you in that is that like furious hip tapping that you saw in the video is how you end the jam. If you are the lead jammer, that's how you signal that you would like it to stop. So that's done strategically. If I've just scored my points and Molly's the opposing jammer and she hasn't scored her points, I want to call it off then by tapping my hip so that I've got 4 and she's got 0, or whatever the case may be, so that we can strategically kind of build each time while holding her at a big goose egg.
Okay, all right.
Passing the star is if I'm jamming and I'm not getting where I want to go, if they've really got my number and the opposing blockers are holding me in space so I'm not able to get past them and score their points, I could take off that star cap that goes over my helmet and pass it to my pivot. The pivot's a unique blocker, and they have a stripe on their helmet. You might have seen those in the videos too. They're the only one that can take the star from me, and when they do, then they become the jammer, and I revert to being just a blocker. So they now are going to score the points.
Okay.
So that's another strategy. It kind of shifts everything into a different gear, because the team that we're playing against is trying to figure out if I passed it, if I'm going to pass it, if I still have it. So it generally makes them uneasy, which means I might not even need to pass it. I could just run away, or I could pass it to the pivot and they have a better chance because they're usually on the opposite side of that wall of blockers.
Okay, and this final one is
penalty killing.
Yeah, that's
yes.
Well, that's kind of scary. Okay.
It is. So penalties happen, and you have to go to the penalty box. Gameplay doesn't stop or anything. We're sending people off the track, and they're returning to the track just as their penalty expires or is issued. So one of the things that we can do to benefit from an opponent being in the box is we can either call off the jam while they're still in there, so we get to start the next jam without them being on the track. Or if one of our skaters is in the box and we want them to join us on the track, it's kind of like running the clock out. Okay. So you would keep skating even if you're tired or not doing great, just because you want to get your person out of the box so you're at full strength before the jam ends.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Now, we'll go on to tactics, and you can tell us about those.
Sure. Walling up is something that you'll see the blockers do, where one blocker is great, but if you can get 2 blockers together, it's better. So that logic kind of applies across the track. You'll see different formations, but it basically means that your team is together, so they're working as a cohesive unit. Jammer tactics we kind of already covered. Passing the star and calling the jam are the 2 big ones. Goading is something that you do where you pick off an opponent and you trap them behind the wall that you've created with your teammates. The engagement zone is based off of the proximity of skaters from both teams, so it's fluid on the track. So if we have a strong position, we'll try and trap a teammate or an opponent behind us so that our teammates can define the engagement zone from where we are. So strategically, we have it where we'd like it.
Okay.
Running back or recycling, typically that's called soul crushing in Derby speak. If I hit somebody off the track, they have to enter behind me because I've essentially established dominance. So while they're off the track, there's an advantage because their team is down a player. But if I move backwards, they also have to move backwards to remain behind me so that they can enter behind me. So I'm kind of extending the period of time that they're off the track, which means it's easier for my jammer to get through the pack. And then bridging is extending that engagement zone that I mentioned earlier. If I'm 10 feet and then Molly's 10 feet from me and then Brooke is 10 feet from her, we've just extended the engagement zone by 30 feet legally, so we have more space to play.
Okay, as she's talking, Brooke, first of all, what is your role in all of this?
I'm what is often referred to as fresh meat, which means I am still in basic training. There's 3 levels of basic training for Omaha Roller Derby in order to be a rostered skater. So I am in level 1. I am still learning things like stopping, spin or turning around, which we call transitions, and just basic maneuvers on the track.
Okay, so my question then becomes, how do you go about training in this sport? I mean, you are bringing folks from all walks of life, all various levels. I mean, am I correct in saying some of the people, Crash, I'll direct this at you, come and they've never roller skated?
Yeah, we get that a lot.
And then you get those who've come and they've been roller skating all their lives, and maybe the one who's never roller skated though has a little bit more athleticism, the one who's been skating all their lives, maybe not so much. How on earth do you begin with these people?
It evens out fairly naturally. Just because someone's been skating a long time doesn't mean that they are equipped or necessarily have a benefit in Derby. There's a lot of people that are speed skaters or recreational like dance skaters that they bring definitely a unique skill set to the sport. But there are just some naturals too that have never put on skates in their life and just take to it really well. So that's why we say it's not prohibitive if you've never skated before, because we will literally teach you everything you need to know. We usually start with falling, falling and stopping before we work on building speed, because those are the things that if you don't know how to do them correctly, you'll do them incorrectly, and then it can be much more catastrophic.
So, Molly, does anybody ever come to you and you know their heart's in it, they're just so interested, maybe they saw the movie, maybe they've been watching you guys, and they really want to be a part of what's going on, and it's just not really their thing? Does that happen, and how do you guys handle that?
Usually if someone is interested enough to come down and watch us, we'll find something that they are suited for. If not on skates, we have what's called
non-skating officials?
Non-skating officials, NSOs, where they either work inside the track with the officials, or they do penalty box, or they count the points. Or they help with events.
Okay, you find a place
Yeah.
for everybody, which begs the question then, ladies, how did you become involved in this? And Brooke, I'm going to start with you. Did you hear about it somewhere, or what happened that you're now sitting on this panel?
Well, I think like many people of my age group, I did see Whip It years ago and was inspired, and then just kind of tucked it back in my brain. Oh, maybe that's something that would be fun. When I went back to college, I kind of looked into it when I was in Ames, Iowa, and then I came back and I was like, I want to go see a roller derby game, and so I followed ORD on Facebook, and then I saw, oh, basic training is coming up Fridays from 6 to 8. And I thought, you know, I need to do something that's going to get me off of my bottom. I want to meet new people. I want to be around powerful women and powerful people of all genders. And so I came down and joined last year, and it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in a long time.
Oh my goodness. Molly, what about you? How did you become involved?
I just happened to be at skate days where the team started out. Just skating a session just for fun, and I saw you guys practicing. I was like, oh my god, I can do that. So I just stuck around and I spoke with just one of the founding members of the team, and she gave me all the information, and it's taken up quite a bit of my life, but it's okay because I need this.
Okay. And Crush, what about you?
Right place, right time. I bumped into the founder of the league when she was trying to recruit people to get one started here. So she was literally handing out flyers, and she was like, "You're wearing knee socks. Do you want to play roller derby?"
Really?
I was like, I didn't think we had one. She was like, well, I'm starting one. So it kind of just fell into place.
Interesting. Now we have a video of the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So that people can see that this is more than 3 people, right? So we're going to go ahead and roll that now for our viewers so they can meet the rest of you. That is great. It shows a different side, right? I have to ask, Crash, what's the story behind the nicknames?
Well, sometimes it's something people choose for themselves. Sometimes other people kind of decide for you. I've seen people make polls trying to get inspiration or suggestions from other people. So sometimes something just sticks.
Okay, and at what point, Molly, do you have to really have that nickname? And how much does that really define you? Molly Massacre, for crying out loud. You don't even strike me as close to that. But when you come on board there, then, do you have that name right away? Do you get time to think about it? I mean...
Oh, it took me a whole season to come up with my name.
And how did you come up with Molly Massacre, for crying out loud?
I initially wanted Holly Homicide, but it was too close to someone else's name. We have like this national roster that we have to check before we pick our names, and obviously we have to pick something unique. So I went with Molly Massacre because almost the same as Holly Homicide. It's cute and it's deadly at the same time.
It's appropriate.
Cute
Very
and
appropriate.
deadly at the same time. Okay, Brooke, you don't have a name.
No, it's a work in progress. I've been mulling over a lot over the past year, but I figure I have until I'm actually a rostered skater to really nail it down.
But you do have some ideas circulating.
I have some ideas circulating, yes.
I want to wish you the best with that, especially after meeting Molly Massacre here.
Yes, the stakes are high.
Yeah, cute and, what was it, cute and?
Deadly.
Deadly all at the same time. The other thing that I really want to bring up are these uniforms, right? We haven't really talked much about the equipment and the uniforms themselves. So, Crash, I see that you have some props here and you're wearing the tanks and so forth. So talk us through what you think is important to know about your uniforms and your equipment.
Uniforms, you just have to have a light and a dark. So if you're at a tournament, they can have a high degree of separation between the teams. So Molly is wearing our white all-star and I'm wearing our green all-star.
Okay.
We kind of have like a paramilitary vibe, so the helmets that we have the same logo as our shirts, and then we have these really awesome paint jobs that our friends did for us. They look kind of battle worn. But we have to have full safety equipment. You have to wear a helmet, a mouth guard, elbow pads, knee pads, wrist guards, and then there's optional pads that sometimes people prefer. There's a butt pad and different things like that. Yeah, people started wearing tortoiseshell bras. Things like that, where it just kind of gives you more comfort because it is full contact. It's a legal blocking area.
Do you guys have people on standby in case somebody does get injured?
We're required to have
medics. How often do injuries happen?
Yeah. When it's a sanctioned game, we do have to have 2 medics, and if they're attending to someone, we have to stop gameplay until they're back in their designated area. We've had to transport people before. What we find, though, is almost, I think, every single person that's gotten injured, like even the ones that have been transported in an ambulance and everything, is like they're still in practice in their boots and on their crutches, and they come down and they watch and they pitch in. As soon as they're done, they're back. We have people in plates, like literal like plates in their ankles and stuff that are like, yeah, I had to get a different boot for my skate now that I've got this plate in there, but I worked it out. It just, once you get there, you kind of stay there.
I think we think more, at least I do, about the physical in this sport. It is so mental.
Oh,
I mean, I would imagine, I'm sitting here and I'm visiting with all of you. You seem like the nicest people. I would not want to get on that track with any of you, right? So, I mean, you really do need to kind of psych yourself up. Am I right about that, Molly? I mean, what are you doing before a competition?
I have this ritual. I always take a very hot shower, like as hot as I can stand it, and I just stand in the shower. Then I eat some strawberries, and then I have to walk a couple of laps because before every single game still, I get very nervous.
Yeah.
But once the first jam starts, I'm fine.
I was going to say, this is not really, no sport is a good one to be nervous, but this one you really do need to be thinking all the time and thinking on your feet, truly. All right, so talked a little bit with all of you. We saw the video of your teammates. Where, Brooke, do these people come from? I mean, I would imagine you said you're Iowa. I mean, I've heard different stories, and I'm understanding that you guys have lives outside of this. So where are these people coming from? Is there a common thread, or is it just, I saw this, I was curious? I mean, what do you think?
I think our love for working in a full contact sport with other amazing people is our common thread. So we come from many states. We just had skaters come from, I believe, North Dakota, from California, a lot of local people, but there's a fair amount of movement in the leagues. So we're always getting new skaters in. We have all sorts of jobs outside of Derby. We have all sorts of jobs inside of Derby, but it's just that love of Derby and keeping the sport alive of what keeps us there.
Crush, how long do people stick around on average?
Oh, we just had a big crop of retirees the last couple years, but considering that the league started in 2006, I mean, most of the people skated for as long as they could. Some of the people even just shifted to non-skating or to officiating within the league. They just couldn't compete anymore. And we do get some short timers. We get people here for like off-it and things like that where they have like a contract to come to Omaha, and when it's up, they're up. But they usually transfer someplace else and keep skating.
Okay, and if you've mentioned it, I apologize. Age in all of this?
It varies.
18 to whenever they are no longer able to skate.
So it's really more about how mentally and physically fit you are, not necessarily driven by age. When you say retire, of course we all jump to that. Oh, okay, they must be too old to do that. But age really not.
No, we've had skaters in their 50s.
Who are competing with the 18, 20-something-year-olds.
And we have juniors so that they can start training on how to play roller derby before they graduate out. So there's, we start watching them and kind of anticipating. We're like, how old are you again? Like, when are you going to graduate? When do we get you? Because they're brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're a nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand there's quite a bit not only done on the track, but you guys are pretty busy off the track as well, and not just with your jobs, but with community service. So, Crash, tell us a little bit about what you're doing out in the community to make the world a better place.
Yeah, we try to kind of lead by example. Like you said, there's a little bit of duplicity with our image where we do want to, seem tough, but we do also want to show that we're invested in Omaha, we're invested in minor communities within Omaha, like we really love our city and our area. So we try to demonstrate that. We partner with Benson First Friday quite a bit, which is like an art organization in Benson. We donate routinely to Nebraska Special Olympics. We take pride in doing the polar plunge. We raise over $1,000 almost every winter, sometimes more like $2. So that's money that goes to help them. We love to be athletes that support other athletes. And then we routinely do the Grief's Journey Walk and the Out of Darkness Walks. So those are community organizations that deal with basically just a support system for people that have died and people that have died by suicide. So we go and typically we lead the walk so that we can skate through it and show people the proper route, but also just kind of be there for morale to keep things lighthearted.
Wow. Okay, Molly, we haven't really talked a whole lot about staff, those people working behind the scenes. If you're a nonprofit, maybe a development person, I mean, who do you have working on the team there to keep this whole organization going?
There is a whole committee made up of either skaters or NSOs. It's very official. Like PR director, there's obviously coaching.
Community outreach is one of them. Sponsorship.
Image.
Merch.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's a whole circle of directors.
So if people want to get on your radar in terms of community service, do they just contact the organization and say, hey, we'd love to have some of your skaters come and hang out? And and work with us on whatever project they're needing.
We're always looking for new ideas. We typically do just respond to the emails. Our website has the different director emails broken down so that people can contact us. We have had people, we just had Heartland Pride. We love partnering with them. We have an established history with them. They just said that their prom's coming up and they need someone to take tickets to the door. Like really anything. Like we always vet it through our group. We have a fairly large base, and we'll reach out to our volunteers that don't skate but are around, our retired skaters. Like we still have a very strong community. So we typically can afford to lend people to different causes to help out.
I think that's amazing you're doing that. Congratulations to all of you. We have about a minute remaining. Crash, the future of roller derby.
It's strong. We just need more people.
And so if people are interested, what steps do they take?
They can contact us on any social media. We have all of them kind of locked down, and we are recruiting all the time. Like we talked about, we train everyone. We teach you everything you need to know about the sport, about athletics.
Okay.
We take anyone and we work with you.
Okay,
we want you.
We're going to put up websites, so in the event that they would have some more questions, let's go ahead and put those up now for our viewers. And it's OmahaRollerGirls.org. And Crash, that second one, can you give us like a 15-second spiel on that second website?
Yeah, Women's Flat Track Derby Association is the governing body of which we are a member. There's about 400 leagues, and it's ranked internationally.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Best wishes to all of you. This is so cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to our students for working so hard behind the scenes, and of course to our viewers for watching. As we close, a look at Fontenelle Forest is seen through the lens of Crystal Qua, a senior right here at UNO. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at netnebraska.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.